Bismillah, walhamdulillah, assalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah, rabbi shahri sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My dear sisters, welcome to today's session on Inner Journey. Wow, mashallah, we've got 25 ladies joining us today, mashallah. So where in the world are you joining us today? We have Sister Sabina Tarannum, Amina Bibi, Sister Magda, as usual, mashallah, Sister Magda never misses our live sessions. Holistic homeschool science. Okay, mashallah, Sister Magda from Bristol, UK. Mashallah. Sister Hannah from Sheffield, UK. Sister Hafsa, Assalamu alaikum, Sister Hafsa from Pakistan, mashallah. And Sister Rahmina Chaudhry became very familiar name, mashallah. Welcome. Sister Sabina from Bangalore, mashallah, mashallah. So we've got a lot of ladies from all around the world joining us today for the free masterclass on Inner Journey. I am going to welcome our dear trainer today. I'm just going to do a quick introduction and I will leave the studio to her, inshallah. Sister Samia Athar, she is an RTT therapist and she is also GCCE recovery coach. She's a certified therapist, certified coach. She's expert in her field. She's also addiction professional, and she is the only certified and trained RTT therapist in Pakistan. And she shares a diverse portfolio from being a trauma-informed coach, educator, counselor, and internationally certified addiction professional. She's certified by International Association of Islamic Psychology and also certified in inclusive education for special needs children. So you can see, mashallah, she's got a lot of expertise. She's been working with individuals, children, adolescents with clinical and psychopathological disorders through psychotherapy aligned with the Islamic approach. I believe, this is very, very important. Psychology is science, all right? And there's great science in it, but it's also ideology. Psychology is also ideology, and it's very important that we use it in a way that's aligned with Islamic values, beliefs, and principles. And that's why her role as a therapist from a Muslim background is very, very important and instrumental. So without a further ado, I will welcome Sister Samia to the studio. Sister Samia, welcome.
Assalamu alaikum, and thank you, Sister Rhoda.
Walaikum assalam. How are you today?
Oh, I am good and I am excited.
Alhamdulillah, mashallah. Yeah, we've got nearly 50 ladies, mashallah. So please enlighten us about the inner journey. I believe it's going to be a profound session for many of us. So I will leave the studio to you.
Thank you, Sister Rhoda. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Okay, so Assalamu alaikum, ladies. I'm so excited and I'm so elated that I'm here. And thank you for giving me this opportunity to guide you, to mentor you, to coach you. Thank you for having me. And because this topic is one of my most favorite topics, and it is the topic that with which I relate very, very much, because it's actually the story of my own life of more than 2 decades journey. So today I will be sharing some points of that journey with you, so that in the coming days we can move on together on this journey. So some decades back, my this inner journey, it started with when I came across with a wonderful hadith of our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and that hadith, that narration, actually that was a very powerful one, and that jolted me. So, first of all, let me share that narration with you. So, our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he narrated that um, ashirk al-khafi in Muslim ummah is more unnoticeable than the creeping of a black ant on a black rock in the pitch darkness of the night. So, the powerful words of this narration, they jolted me. They actually shook me. And I was wondering, Ya Rabbi Nafsi, how can I save myself? How can I have that insight that can enlighten me? Because you see, the words of this narration, it's the pitch black darkness, and it's a black it's a black rock and a black ant. So with the visuality, it is impossible to see anything. So it means that if we look at the shirk khafi, or the nifaq, or the riyakari, so it is highly impossible to spot it in one's life with all the visible tools. So how can we spot that riyakari, that shirk khafi? Because that's going to pollute our iman, and we won't be able to carry forward with a pure iman. So I wondered and wondered and prayed, and then Allah Ta'ala opened this whole journey in front of me, and I took this journey, and now I want you to move on, to move forward in this journey with me. And I just want to, before going into any kind of detail, I just want to tell you one thing, that when we talk about inner journey, we assume that it's going to be some linear path and some steady state kind of thing. But this, the inner journey is not a linear path. It's a spiral, right? So you keep on passing through the same point again and again, but with a very different insight, and with a very new awareness of yourself and your surroundings, with a new insight of your own issues and of your own inner self. So, just let me know in your comments that are you ready to take this journey with me? And I'm so excited to see that people from so many different places are joining me. I hope you can see my screen. All right, so let's talk about, first of all, optimizing our experience of this coaching. Uh, to optimize the learning from this session, you need to be present. You need to be present here physically, mentally, emotionally. So just give yourself the gift of presence. And to optimize your results, the intention is the most important thing, because intention serves as a compass needle. It serves as a compass needle, and it guides us to the right path, to our destination. So let's work on our intention. And while I will be doing a small meditation with you, in the meantime, I would love to hear things from you. That after the meditation, I would love to take comments from you. That what intentions do you have for this class? So just relax, sit back, relax yourself, make yourself comfortable, deep breathe, close your eyes. Bring your attention back into your body. Breathe in and breathe out. Focus on your breathing pattern. Feel the rhythm. Breathe in and breathe out. And now, ask yourself a question: why I am here? Who do I want to be by the end of this session? Allow yourself to feel this feeling. What do you want to become? How do you want to participate in life? Feel this feeling and hold this feeling so that when you are taking the class, you are guided and pulled by your intention, not only by your curiosity. Curiosity may have got you through the door, but the intention is going to pull you. It's going to pull you to the next level of your understanding. So deep breathe and think, what do I want to become? What do I value? What are my values? Do I value love? Do I have a value of beauty, of peace, of order, intelligence, harmony? And I want you to consider who you want to be and embrace at least three values to be integrated into you as you. Now you can open up your eyes and write down those three values that you want to integrate in you as you. And in the comment box, you can share your values as well with the with your fellows. So I hope everybody can hear me. All right. I hope that you have pointed out, you have you must have listed down certain values. You have written down for yourself what do you want to become at the end of this class, at the end of this session. And intention is the most important thing. And after the intention comes the objectives. So what are the objectives of this class? Okay, so wonderful, mashallah. I am having this comment to overcome buried emotions causing illness. Mashallah, beautiful. Someone else can also share. You can also share your intentions and your values that you want to instill in yourself. Okay, so we will be taking a journey within ourselves. So it's like a self observation, and we need to be honest, and it needs a lot of courage because it's not necessary that whatever we come across in this inner journey is pleasant. Maybe it's unpleasant, maybe we want to see it, maybe we don't want to see it. So you just need to observe yourself without judgment, without putting a label on what you see in yourself, because it is a conscious effort of your self development. And to grow yourself, to develop yourself, the first stage is observation and then acceptance. So, when you are observing yourself, don't forget to be loving and kind towards yourself. You are the one who deserves your kindness and love the most. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, wonderful. We are having some more comments. To be peaceful, successful, and super healthy. Awesome. To be and feel happy, calm, and Sadafan is saying that he wants to be calm and helpful. Hafsa is saying to feel more myself, unchain myself from things disturbing my peace. Great. Wonderful. I'm happy that you people have done a good work while setting your intention. Okay, so let's move on and talk about the inner journey. So inner journey, as the name, as it is evident from the name, that it's a journey towards your inner self, your inner knowing, and it's a gift to yourself and to others, because uh, when you are going inside you, when you are observing yourself, and when you are growing yourself, and when you are healing yourself, it's not only going to make an impact on you, it's not only going to make you a better human being but for yourself, but it's going to make you a better human being, a better caregiver, a more loving person, a more caring person for those who are around you. So it's the transformation is a process when it takes place in one individual, in one human being. It's not only limited to that person, but it's like it produces a ripple effect, right? So it affects the surrounding of that human being as well. So whenever the so you can see in the history, whenever a person was able to transform themselves, was able to find their soul calling, their inner knowing, they were able to align their self with that inner calling and inner knowing. That transformation of only one person created a huge ripple effect in this society, in this surrounding, and in the universe as well. So first of all, we can take the example of our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his companions. So, the transformation of those individuals, the companions, that created such a huge effect in the whole world. If we look at the, Mother Teresa, so she was the one who decided to answer to the calling of her inner knowing, and that created such a huge impact in the society. So don't think that when you are going to transform yourself, when you are going to heal yourself, it's going to affect you only, it's going to benefit you only. Actually, it's going to benefit everybody around you, even those who are not in contact with you, who are not related to you. it's going to be it's going to affect them as well. So like I said, inner work transforms you, and it transforms not only the lives of the people around you, but it transforms the universe around you. When we talk about our inner journey, when we talk about our inner self, when we talk about the observation, the self observation, so we know we have certain roadmaps, certain checklists, checkpoints, and when we when we go for that inner knowing, we know that there are certain stages. These are like a roadmap, so that we can know where we are and where we can be. So there are main three stages of consciousness. The number one stage is called the victim stage, and then it comes the manifestation stage, and then comes the reassured self. Okay. So, victim stage is, you can say that it is the most basic stage of being, and we see that mostly people are existing at this stage of being. We will see that what are the signs of this stage and how can we identify that whether we are in this stage or not. And then comes the manifestation stage. So when we outgrow, when we come out of the victim stage, the next stage of development, the next stage of transformation, the next stage of our spiritual development is the manifestation stage. And when we excel the manifestation stage, then we enter into the next level, and this is called the reassured self. The reassured self, okay, so it is called the nafs mutmainna. As Allah Ta'ala refers in Quran, in Suratul Fajr, Ya ayyatahal nafsul mutmainna. So the reassured self is the nafs mutmainna. So our ultimate goal is to transcend, to elevate ourselves from wherever we are, at the victim stage or at the manifestation stage. So our goal, ultimate goal, is to reach to the goal, to the reassured self, to the nafs mutmainna. How are we going to transcend ourselves from these stages? So let's look a little bit deeper into these stages so that we can identify ourselves, we can spot ourselves, that from what stage do we belong. Okay, so let's come to the victim stage first of all. So the victim stage, this stage is identified by the state of fear and anxiety. It is a state of learned helplessness. Why fear and anxiety, and why the learned helplessness? Because when the one is in victim stage, they feel that their life is controlled by something outside of them. Something outside of them is controlling their happiness, is controlling their health, is controlling their success, whether it's their family or the society or the traditions or the culture or the economic background, whatever. In the victim stage, one always feels that their life is controlled by some external elements, some external factors. And that's why it is a stage of fear and anxiety, because the external factor are always out of control. So anxiety comes when you try to control something and you are not able to control that. Fear comes when you want to control the outcomes, the things, and you know that you are not able to control that. So the fear and anxiety are basically, they come from the desire to control something. And when we find that the things that are affecting our lives are actually the things, are the elements that are outside of us, so it it creates a state of fear and anxiety and frustration and depression, of course, yes, right. And what do we learn? We learn a helplessness, and we learn a hopelessness. So the victim stage is marked by the feeling of uh, helplessness and hopelessness as well. Um, there was the stage, right? So what are the traits of the victim? And you can tell me in your comments that, do you feel these feelings of helplessness or hopelessness or fear and anxiety? Because these are like the litmus test, right, of knowing where do we stand. Okay, so now let's move forward and look at the traits of a victim. The one who is in this victim stage, in this victim state, what are the typical traits of that person? Number one, rationalize. Number two, justify. And number three, make excuses. So whenever they are going to make a decision, whenever they make a decision, whenever they make a choice, they rationalize it, they justify it, and they just make excuses. They don't own their decisions. They lack ownership, because for them the locus of control is outside of them. So whenever they are making certain choices, it's not because of what they want, it's because they what they feel other wants them to do, right. So the person who feels victimized, that person always rationalizes things. So just give yourself a self check. Do I rationalize things? Do I rationalize my wrong choices? Do I rationalize my certain behaviors? Uh, do I justify? Okay, I hope it's not for me. Okay, so do I justify myself when I make a mistake, when I make a wrong decision? Do I make excuses when I'm not able to do something? These three traits, they show that we don't take the responsibility of our actions, of our choices. And it's because we feel that we don't have that control to make choices. Like a philosopher said, that who we think we are, who I am what I think other people think who I am. So it's not about my true self, it's about what other people are expecting from me. And when I'm not able to do things that are meeting their expectations, I rationalize, I justify, I make excuses. And when I feel unhappy, again, I try to rationalize, justify, and I make excuses. And I do the same when other people make wrong choices, when other people do something wrong with me. So I will be doing the same. I will be rationalizing their mistakes. I will be justifying their wrong choices. I will be making excuses and I will be thinking that I'm doing something good. How can how can I forgive something if I will not accept it as a mistake? How can I seek forgiveness for myself if I'm not accepting that I have made a wrong choice? I have done something wrong, right? So it's uh, it's not owning yourself. It's not reclaiming your power. Um, all right. So how do we learn this victimhood? How do we learn and where do we learn this victimhood? It is a very very important question, um, because this victimhood is it's a learned behavior, and we start learning this behavior since we are born. Hmm? Okay. In the comments, share with me that do you see any behaviors, anything that you can relate with, that maybe it's rationalizing, over journalizing, maybe it's justifying yourself or others, too much justifications for everything. Okay, so let's move forward and let's see when do we learn this victimhood. um, this victimhood is learned, we start learning this victimhood the way we are born. And now like the Chinese say, and now the scientific studies are also supporting that even in the mother's womb we start learning this victimhood, because this victimhood is coming from the feelings and emotions that surround us. It comes from the discussions, the talks they are being the things that are being said around us. It comes from the state, of the family or the society, the state that was there when we were born. So because this victimhood is a learned behavior, so it is a good thing that we can always unlearn things that we learn, and we start learning this victimhood even before coming into this world. Then comes another concept, and it is again related to the victimhood, the victim mindset, the victim consciousness, and it is called the race consciousness. uh, so the victim consciousness of individual person, we saw that victim consciousness was about justifying, rationalizing, making excuses, not reclaiming their own life, not owning their decisions. But when it becomes the mindset of a society, this becomes a race consciousness. And how do we get that race consciousness? It's done through media. We can also call it like collective hypnotism. So people are being hypnotized collectively uh, through media and through gossips and by spreading rumors, and uh, and this is done because there are certain forces, there are certain elements in the society that want people to think in a certain way. That can be some companies, and they are like hypnotizing, creating this race consciousness in their consumers so that they can make people buy some things. It can be done by governments because when they will create an environment of fear in people, it will be easy for them to control them, right? So the race consciousness is actually the mindset of the society. And when the society uh, operates from the victim stage, like when the individuals operate from victim stage, they show certain traits. When the societies operate from victim stage, the societies also show certain traits. And uh, the typical traits of a society that is operating from the victim stage is the mindset of lack and scarcity. And it is a lie, right? Because we know that there is no lack and there is no scarcity in the universe. Universe is abundant and everything is available in abundance. So uh, and we know that by being Muslims, we know that um, we know that the treasures of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they are unlimited, are abundant. But when as a society we live in a victim stage, so we operate from a mindset of scarcity and lack. And that mindset that stops people from sacrificing for one another, that actually inculcates a greed, and a society that is intolerant, right? Because when you know that there is only one bottle of water, right? When you know that there is only one bottle of water, so everybody will try to get that bottle of water. But once you know that no, there are as many bottles of water as possible, nobody will bother about it. Everybody will sacrifice for the other person. So the victim consciousness in societies creates an environment of lack and scarcity. People think that there are not enough opportunities, there are not enough resources available, although it's not true. It's a lie. It's a lie of an immature economy, emotionally immature economic models, because those economic models, they are based upon debt, not on abundance, and they are made to control people. So these kind of uh, ideas that make societies operate from victimhood are actually spread by those who want to control those societies. Then comes the emotional contagion. Okay, when as an individual we are operating from victim consciousness, and and we are a part of a society that is operating from lack and scarcity, uh, we observe a phenomena that is called emotional contagion. Emotional contagion is a phenomena that the emotions and the feelings of one person, whether it is right or wrong, true or false, will induce the same kind of emotion and feeling in the other person. If I am feeling afraid, I will, and the person whom I'm talking is also operating from the victim consciousness, I will induce the same feeling of fear in that person. And this is called emotional contagion. This emotional contagion also comes from weak emotional boundaries. And why do we have weak emotional boundaries? Because uh, we are not focusing on our inner self, because everything for us exists outside of us. So um, so we see that uh, that an emotional contagion spreads in societies where the societies or the people of that society are operating from victim consciousness. And then comes compulsive behaviors and addictions. So the compulsive behaviors and addictions also come from the victim consciousness, because when we are unable to when we find that uh, our source of happiness is outside of us, our source of well-being is outside of us, um, when we make this false image, right, that everything that I need is not inside me, is outside me, and I'm unable to control that. And uh, that feeling of helplessness induces the emotions of fear and anxiety and pain and distress. So to avoid those feelings, to avoid those painful emotions, one indulges themselves into compulsive behaviors. That compulsive behavior can be compulsive eating, can be compulsive shopping, can be compulsive use of substances, can be compulsive sex. So it can be any compulsive behavior, any behavior that one is using to numb their feelings, to avoid their painful feelings and emotions, is a compulsive behavior, is an addictive behavior. And from where this compulsive behavior, this addictive behavior is coming, it's coming from the sense of being helpless. It's coming from that fake identity of being helplessness and hopelessness. And it's coming because we assume, being victims, that we are not in charge of our life. Someone else, some force other than ourselves. It may be um, um, it may be culture, maybe parents, maybe relatives, maybe economical system, maybe the geographic background where we are born. It can be anything, anything that we assume is controlling our destiny, is controlling our happiness, is controlling our well being, is controlling our health, anything that is controlling us other than our own selves, is actually creating a sense of helplessness and a sense of fear and distress. And 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 how do we handle this? How do we handle these feelings? How do we handle these feelings of distress and fear and anxiety and pain, right? So, if you look at this screen, we are over here at the victim consciousness, at the victim stage. And what do? We take a spiritual bypass. We take a spiritual bypass and we try to perform certain rituals. We try to recite certain athkars and duas, and we feel that okay, now uh, now we are in charge. Now we are being protected by the things that were going to harm us, that were controlling our destiny, and that were making us unhappy, fearful, anxious. And we superficially, taking this spiritual bypass, we superficially land at this stage, and this is the reassured soul, and we assume that we have become a reassured soul, we have become a nafs mutmainna, because I have gone through Quran, and now I have performed Hajj. Now I recite all my du'as, and now I am okay. But why it is called a spiritual bypass? Because we are not addressing the root causes. We are not addressing those irrational beliefs that made us act and think and believe in certain ways. So just by reciting, um, although there, I'm not saying that that the askar are less important, but actually only doing certain askar is not sufficient. It will give you an escape. It will give you a superficial cover of peace, of gratitude. But whenever you will go through a tough time, whenever you will encounter um, some difficulty, that that shell will crack open, um, and the true self will reveal itself. That wounded self, that that irrational self will come on surface, and that's why we see that although in normal circumstances, when we are going through a normal routine of our life, we are offering prayers, we are doing a scar, and we are happy, and we are easily communicating with other people, and we are able to forgive certain things. But when we are going through tough times, and when we encounter betrayals, it's really hard to forgive people. We feel betrayed, we feel hurt, we feel left alone. Why from where these feelings of betrayal and hurt and being left alone, being abandoned are coming? Why why we were not in that state of peace and gratitude, even in the face of disaster, even in the face of something uh, that was unpleasant, some trial? Why why we became our old self? Because because we took a spiritual bypass, and we did not work on our emotional self deeply. So uh, the actual path, the true path of nafs mutmainna, the true path of getting a reassured soul, of becoming a nafs mutmainna, having a qalb salim, the whole heart, the complete self, the whole being, needs to work on yourself more deeply, so that we can reclaim our own life, we can reclaim our own decisions, and we can reclaim our own authenticity. And it only comes from your emotional healing, when the mind comes in action. So as we saw in our initial slides, so when we were looking at the stages of consciousness, so when we make a bypass and we jump from the victim stage without changing our core beliefs, without healing our core emotions, we are still looking through things through our wounds, and we don't know who we truly are. We don't know who what are our true desires. We don't know what are our true assets. And our ego is a liability, is not an asset for ourselves, and it remains our liability. Although we do a scar, we perform certain rituals, and we assume that we have landed upon that reassured self, we have landed upon that, we have achieved that nafs mutmainna. But we are not there actually. And you can make a check, right? there is there is a very good check. So when we are doing good deeds, and still we are comparing ourselves with the other people. Like if I'm performing salat, or I'm observing um, psalm, and still in the heart of my heart, in the depths of my heart, I am thinking of those people who are not performing salat. It means that I'm making a comparison. It means that my ego is still a liability for me. It's not an asset for me. I'm not able to think that all human beings are equal human beings. So still, internally, my core is at the victim stage. And to let go of that victim stage, to outgrow from that victim stage, we need to do two things. We need to move beyond blame and shame and guilt, because blame, shame, and guilt have no transformational value. Blame has no transformational value. Shame has no transformational value. Guilt has no transformational value. And how can we move beyond this shame and blame and guilt? By doing two things. Number one, identifying and our blame story and letting go of that blame story. How can we identify that blame story? How can we check ourselves? So, just by observing yourself, and just by knowing that what is my biggest complaint about the life, about the people, about the circumstances, that biggest complaint must be coming from some blame, right? So, identify that biggest complaint in your life, identify the blame story that you are living, and let that blame story go by reclaiming the charge of your life, by becoming the in charge of your own well-being, by becoming the in charge of your own happiness, and by becoming the in charge of your own true self, your authentic self. And number two, forgiveness. So there are two things that will move you from victim stage to the manifestation stage, because the manifestation stage is the stage of emotional healing. It is the stage of mind in action, where the laws of universe are operating, are in action, and you are able to identify your own emotional wounds, and you are able to heal your own emotional wounds, and you know that you are enough. So uh, when you are when you are in your transformational journey, when you are taking that inner transformational journey, just first of all move from victim consciousness to the emotional healing. Heal yourself, reclaim your power, and then move on to the reassured self, to the nafs mutmainna. And let me tell you, uh, you don't need to make an effort to move from the emotional well-being to the reassured soul. Actually, I what uh, what I lived is that these are the two sides of the same coin. When you are healed, you are able to forgive yourself and you are able to forgive others. When you are healed, you are able to see the blessings of Allah Ta'ala in your life, and you are not making an effort to be grateful. You are in a state of gratefulness, you are in a state of peace, right? So actually, uh, it's not that these are two different things. So the emotionally healed person, when that emotionally healed person is a believer, that emotionally healed person is nafs mutmainna. So if you are a believer and you are healing yourself emotionally, you are trying to heal your emotional wounds, you are actually trying to become a nafs mutmainna, a qalb salim, not the broken heart, not the wounded heart, not the wounded self, but the whole. So it's a process of becoming whole again, and this is where our inner child healing course comes in action. um, it's about healing your own inner emotions and healing and transforming your irrational beliefs. So in that course of inner child healing, we will identify the emotional wounds, and we will identify from where those emotional wounds are coming, and then we will go through a group hypnotherapy session, the RTT, rapid transformational therapy session. And we will rewire your brain for emotional well-being. We will rewire your brain for rational beliefs, right? For the new beliefs, we will plant the seeds of happiness and contentment in that hypnotherapy session. And you will be able to access that hypnotherapy audio through your portal. And you will be and then we will have a feedback session, and you will be able to reach me via my either my Facebook or RYS forum, or my email, and I will be there guiding you, supporting you, motivating you to transform yourself. So I think I was planning to do a little, a few minute meditation for the forgiveness, but I think we are already running short of time. So I think let's go back to the form, to your questions. Um, let's see. So, how can we strong these boundaries? Okay, Amna Bibi is asking about how can we strong those boundaries. I think she's talking about the emotional boundaries. So when we are healed emotionally, um, naturally our boundaries become firm and at their natural place. So Hannah is asking, could you recommend any books? I very much benefited from the book called Solving the Autoimmune Puzzle by Dr. Keisha. Okay, so there are many books that can help you in your insight, but very famous books. But the problem is with those books that they they spot the problem and they spot the solution, but they don't guide you uh, through the roadmap. Like the very famous book of Eckhart Tolle. Um, what is that book? The Power of Now. Okay, in that book he talks about the power of now. He talks about that emotionally healed being, but it doesn't tell you how to be there, how to go there. So I think the best way of going through your own understanding is observing your own self, your own behavior patterns. How do you act? That as I can share these slides with you, and you can keep on checking yourself back. Am I doing this? Am I doing that? Am I carrying a blame story? Uh, right? So I think this is the best thing you can do for the time being. Okay, and okay. Mm, um, all right. So I think Sister Eroda is here. Nobody's there. Okay.
Yes,
So Sister,
I'm here.
I
I
think.
am right here.
So
Sisters,
what
do
would
we
you like
have
me to do?
any questions? We have a question from Sister Hafsa. How we
Yeah.
reclaim in charge of our or happiness? How? Is there a
By heal.
formula like one,
Yeah,
two,
yeah.
three?
Okay, it's only about by knowing our own emotional wounds and healing them. And it's actually we always need a guide, a mentor who can help us in identifying and healing those emotions or irrational beliefs, and only then we can reclaim our true self and our true happiness.
Mm-hmm. So you're saying just reading through some of the self-help books is not sufficient?
No, not at all, because
Mm-hmm.
uh, if it was enough, then Allah must have sent only book, not the prophet.
I see. I see. SubhanAllah. Can you tell us a little bit more about your course? You know, the course that you have just launched, mashallah. Who is it for?
Okay, the
Who
course
can
that I have,
benefit from it?
yes, yes, the course that I have launched, the inner child healing, every person can benefit from that course, because we all have certain beliefs, certain wounds, we call them mother wounds. We all are suffering from anxiety and distress and frustration and anger. So at certain point of our lives we are going through those emotions, and these are the indicators that there is something, there is some unfinished business, right, of our inner healing. So that course is basically for everybody, whoever wants to live an emotionally um, sound, healthy, happy life. That course is for that person. And
Mm-hmm.
as I told you, that the emotional healing and the reassured soul, actually these are not two different things. These
Mm-hmm.
are the two sides of the same coin. So
Mm-hmm.
when you heal yourself emotionally,
Mm-hmm.
only then you regain that qalb salim, and only then you become that nafs mutmainna. A broken
Mm-hmm.
heart, a wounded heart, how can it be a mutmain nafs, right?
I see. I see. A sister asking, is the course live or through watching or hearing videos? So, what does this course involve? Like, how many weeks? Somebody else also asking, how many weeks or how long is the course for? So, can you tell us a bit
Okay.
information about that?
Yes, 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 that course is going to be a live course, and it's 3 week long course. So we will be having live trainings and live question answer and live hypnotherapy and transformational therapy session.
Mm-hmm. So first week, so it's 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's
First
three
week
week.
is a live training where you will be
Yep.
given information.
Mm.
Second week is a Q&A. So it's interactive question and answer session. And third week is RTT therapy. Yeah?
No, 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 no.
Is it,
The
what is
sec,
it?
the sec. Okay, the second week is going to be. Uh, I will be telling about the rules of the mind, the process of
Okay.
RTT, the rapid transformational therapy process, and
Uh-huh.
then we will be going through a deep transformational hypnotherapy session, rapid transformational hypnotherapy session.
Mm-hmm.
And in that it's going to be a long session, like 30 to 40 minutes long, because we will be identifying and healing our own irrational beliefs and emotional wounds, and we will
Mm-hmm.
be reclaiming our own powers, our own life. And after and that's going to be our second session, and
Mm-hmm.
I'll give some reflective exercises to do as well. So in the third
Okay.
session, that's going to be a kind of because we will provide that the audio recording of that hypnotic track, so that people can
Okay.
carry on listening to that recording at their own,
Okay.
because it's a rule of mind that the repetition, the mind learns by repetition. So whatever healing we did in the class, in the hypnotherapy session, in the live therapy session, we will be binding and making that healing a part of neurological system by repetition. So we will
Okay.
ask our participant to listen to that recording every day, and it's going to be only 20 minutes of recording for them. So they will be
Mm-hmm.
listening to that recording every day, and then in the next class they will come up with their feedbacks, with their questions, and the reflective exercises that I um, have assigned to them, so they will come up with those exercises. So it's going to be an interactive question answer session. We will talk heart to heart, how do we
Mhm.
feel, what are our issues, what are the things that we are still unable to move on.
I see.
Yeah.
How many hours per week? Sister Sheba asking.
Okay, it's going to be 1 hour per week, and but at the end of the class, we can have like 5-10 minutes extra if someone wants to interact with me in person. So we can have, I think, we, what do you say, can we manage that?
For one-to-one session?
No, 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 not one-to-one session. Like after the main class, if people
Uh-huh.
have certain queries, so like after completing our 1 hour of the class main content, so if there are certain queries, so I mean, we can extend for 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm. I see. I see. Okay. And sister, kindly take my question. What is your question? Oh, yes, there's a great question. It's also been on my mind. I've never done a hypnotherapy session myself. Also, hypnotherapy, is it in line with our Islamic values? So it's a very good question.
Oh, it's an awesome question. I am so, so happy, and I really congratulate the sister who asked this question. So always remember, there is one rule of thumb of Islamic fiqh, right? There is one rule of thumb in whenever you will read any book of principles of fiqh, there is one rule of thumb. Everything is mubah, is jais, is halal, is allowed until and unless you bring an evidence against that, right? So this is the fundamental rule of fiqh. Everything is allowed, jais, halal, mubah, until and unless you bring an evidence against that. So if we look at this rule, just, I mean, let me go through this question step by step. So if we look at this rule, there is no evidence in Quran and Sunnah that is against this process. It is not prohibited, right? So it is allowed, number one. And number two, it's uh, it's like uh, it's like a therapeutic process. It's not something mesmerizing or something like that. It's not that hypnotherapy that we watch in movies, or we read in novels. It's not that hypnotherapy. It is a therapeutic process, and it's like going through, uh, like we do surgical processes in physical body. It is a kind of going deeply into your emotional body.
Hmm.
I hope I'm clear.
Yeah, I think it'll make more sense why once like people experience it. Like I said, I myself, I've never experienced hypnotherapy. So I'm looking forward to, mashallah, I'll be the first one to sign up for this course. I am looking forward, inshallah, to do this course. And there's a sister asking. About okay, how would we be able to benefit if there are many people joining? You said the class size is 30, right? And
Okay, all right.
well,
Okay, so this process is equally good even if the class size is 300. Don't worry, trust me.
I see. Okay, okay, mashallah. And sister Magna saying, I think it's like magic. I think maybe she's talking about the
Oh, it's not like magic.
hypnotherapy.
No, 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 it's not like magic, because magic involves the influence of jinns.
Uh-huh.
Uh, okay, so magic, there are two types of magic: the one that is done by jinns only, and the other is that is done by done in the collaboration of the jinns and the human beings, and that is the black magic, right? So
Hmm.
hypnotherapy has no involvement of jinns, right? It's only penetrating into your own emotional mind, the subconscious mind.
Yes. Yes, yes. I think uh, sister, mashallah, I've done my background check. I've checked her sister Samia's background, and what was I joking about? I was saying like, okay, give me something that to trust you, and she's like, oh, this is the number. You can go and check. Yeah, man, what did you say? You can go and check my certification from the Islamic Board of Psychologists. So, mashallah. So let's see, inshallah, if you are intrigued and you want to heal emotionally, then sign up today. There's an early bird discount. So it's for 3 weeks, 3 live sessions, including group therapy and RTT therapy, inshallah. And Sister Mujhan, you want to homeschool your daughter? It's a very personal question, Sister. Okay, we'll just finish up with this question. Sister keeps asking. I want to
Hmm?
homeschool my daughters, but I have anger problems and I'm surrounded by the riba environment. Kindly bring a light to it. It's
Okay,
quite personal
so
question.
no, no, it's not a personal question because it's the problem of
Go ahead.
many of us, right? Okay, so anger is a masking emotion. Anger is not the basic emotion. Anger is a masking emotion, and it is the masking emotion of hurt, right? And why do we feel hurt? Because we are already wounded from inside. We have our own emotional wounds, and those emotional wounds are not healed. So we keep on feeling hurt from things that are coming from here and there. But once you are healed, nothing is going to affect you. Once you are emotionally healed from inside, nothing is going to affect you. So if I have my broken arm, anybody is going to touch my arm, I'm going to feel the pain, I'm going to feel hurt. But if my arm is healed, so if someone comes and slaps in my arm, it won't hurt me. So it's all about your inner healing. So the anger is coming from your inner, the hurt that you are holding back in your heart.
Hmm. SubhanAllah. Interesting. Okay, inshallah. It's been a lovely hour. Jazakumullah khair, Sister Samia. I think will there be a support group after the course to follow up? Okay, this will be the last question, inshallah.
Yes, yes, yes. Inshallah, Ta'ala, it's not going to be after the course. I'm planning to launch a support group even after our first live class, so that, even before the first live class, so that I can guide them in person. And because I love to have person heart to heart connections with people. So yes,
Hmm.
definitely we are going to have a support group.
Okay. Okay, mashallah, jazakumullah khair. Okay, sisters, so that was the end of today's session. Jazakumullah khair, Miss Samia, for the lovely hour. I am
Thank you.
looking forward to joining your course, inshallah. I'm really excited. I can't wait to see what's in there. People keep asking me, and I'm like, I don't know. I've never done a course like this before, and inshallah, so I'm open. And if you sign up today, there's a early bird discount, so you can go to the link in the description box and sign up for 3 weeks, 3 live sessions. It's all in line with Islamic values, beliefs, and principles, inshallah. So, your final words, Sister Samia?
Thank you so much for having me. It was a wonderful forum, and I really enjoyed the questions of my sisters. And thank you so much. Hope to see you soon in my class, in my live sessions.
Inshallah. Okay, sisters, Jazakumullah khair for joining today's live. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa
Assalamu
barakatuh.
warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.